Good evening and welcome to Hollister School District's Parent Guide to Distance Learning.
Wait, there's...
Yeah, it's fine.
We're live? Hi, so we just wanted to go over a couple things before we begin. From now on, this will be our new format for our parent webinars. So we'll be giving out a schedule for that. If you log into your Google account or YouTube, you'll be able to chat with us. So we will have a certain parts of our presentation, we'll have a question and answer. So you guys will be able to have any questions, so you can answer any questions that you might have. So before we begin, we want to start off introducing some of the presenters. On my right-hand side, we have Mai Cruz. She is our special education coordinator here at the district. And on my left-hand side, we have Tiffany Bianchi. She is our teacher on special assignments, and she works with our technology department. So again, this is intended to help facilitate for our parents with the distance learning. We've been getting a lot of questions regarding the technology piece of it, so we wanted to make sure we're supporting you guys. So we'll begin some of the topics that will be covered. We'll be going over distance learning, the infographic, tips for parents, and common school and district online platforms. So after each topic, we're gonna go over some questions and answers. And again, you can find that in our chat room if you log into your Google account. Okay, so to begin our distance learning infographic, we'll have Mai Cruz start us off.
Hello everyone, I'm Mai Cruz. I'm one of the special education coordinators with Hollister School District. I will be presenting the distance learning infographic. So here you're going to see an overview of what we offer with regards to distance learning. First, we have the learning packets. This Wednesday, you will be getting week 5 learning packets, but only for grades TK to 3rd and all special day class students. Grades 4 through 8th for general education will no longer have learning packets. Second, we have the online instruction, which officially started today. Some teachers probably tried it last week. Our teachers and service providers will virtually meet with students through video conferencing to deliver lessons, provide tutorials, check-in, or answer clarifying questions. Third is access to online programs. We offer a variety of online programs that students can access in their Clever portal. For special education students, you can find more information in our website at www.hasd.org/special education. And on the left corner of the infographic, you will find a recommended flexible schedule. The recommended time for online instruction is 30 to 60 minutes, but this will vary by grade level and type of service. When your child is not doing online instruction, then we recommend for them that they spend time reading a book for 15 to 30 minutes, or practicing math facts for 15 to 30 minutes, and doing physical activities for 30 to 60 minutes. We encourage your child to do physical education activities provided by their PE teachers. We also recommend your child set aside time to do life skills or chores for 15 to 30 minutes. Most importantly, we encourage family time. On the right corner, you will see information on how to be a good digital citizen, which we summarized in 3 categories. The first one is be safe, the second one is be respectful, and the third one is be responsible. So for this one, this is a distance learning plan. There are similar information on the previous infographic. I will highlight the ones that we did not cover, such as mental health and wellness. Our mental health therapists, school psychologists, and county mental health case managers have been checking in with our students. We also have the meals and community services. Hollister School District continually provide free meals to students. And another category in our distance learning plan is student access to technology. Mass Chromebook distribution took place 2 weeks ago, and then now Chromebook distribution is now through school site. And during this uncharted territory, with everything new to us, we are providing professional development support for our staff, parent workshops for you guys, and online resources that we regularly update.
Okay, at this point, we're gonna open it to questions and answers. And again, you guys can log in your Google or YouTube account and start asking us any questions regarding these topics. Again, after every the three topics we're gonna go over today, we'll be stopping to answer any questions.
So we're monitoring our chat room. As of right now, we do not have any questions. And again, if you have questions, please feel free to use the chat box. There's no
Okay.
question. All right.
It sounds like we don't have any questions at this point, so we're going to continue the presentation, and again, we'll be stopping for questions and answers. Okay.
All right, we prepared 5 different, basic tips to parents as we go through distance learning. The first one is keep a routine. Yes, even if it is loose, it is important to create a daily schedule for your child and for your family, and we would like to emphasize that you create a schedule that will work for your family. It's also important to make space for learning. It can be a study area in your child's bedroom or an area in the living room or in the kitchen. And while supporting your child with schoolwork, it is recommended to tackle the harder stuff first. So we have a sample schedule. Next slide. So this is a daily schedule. It's a sample schedule. This is really this is relevant for our moderate to severe students or the younger grades. The next slide will have a schedule for elementary students. This actually it's very detailed, but again, we would like to remind you to create a schedule that will work for your family. The third one on the next slide is actually a schedule for middle school students. All right, the next tip is limit distraction.
Okay, so I know a lot of our students, when they do homework, they might have their phones out or their tablets or anything like that. Well, we want to make sure that it's limited so that they can focus on their work. However, though, if when a student does take a break, we recommend that they may be able to have access to those just on their break time, just to kind of give them I know some of the students really like that be on a device, so that's definitely could be some incentive or for a break with doing their work, kind of break it up. So that's another tip.
The third one is take breaks. Well, we all need to take a break, right? So it is important to keep snack time, recess for elementary, break for middle school, and lunch to be included in your schedule. This is the time to encourage your child to also get up and get some fresh air. And during those break times, encourage your child to complete the PE activities provided by your child's teacher.
Okay, tip number 4, make a place for feeling. Right now, there's a lot of uncertainty going on, maybe some anxiety going on by many people. So we want to make sure that we are talking to our kids and letting them know that things are going to be fine. Having that open line of communication would really help for them to really get their feelings out right now, especially with the shelter in place. They're probably not seeing a lot of their friends. So something to keep in mind with the social emotional part of this piece. And again, the most important thing is to allow your children to voice their worries and talk about their own feelings. We have a nice quote here that we put on the presentation. Our kids are going to remember this moment forever. Teaching them how to weather a crisis just may be the most important lesson they ever learn. So that's something to keep in mind right at this time.
All right, the last tip is actually regularly connect with teachers. Utilize the teacher's office hours to email them or call them. You can ask them different ways or strategies to help your child at home. Your child's teacher should be checking in with your students, so please use this time to connect with them as well.
So we have some of our resources here that we want to offer. So in our Hollister School District page and social media, you'll find some information. So also in our Hollister School District Special Education Family Resources, you'll find resources that you can use when it comes to academics or any other resource you might be looking for. The California Department of Education website is also a really good one, especially they always have updates on what's happening as things keep changing, almost feels like day to day. And our comprehensive distance learning resources for families, you can also find that on our Hollister School District website and our Clever portal, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Okay. So again, I know there's a lot of information we're going over, so we're breaking it up. So at this point, we have questions and answers, the section part right now. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them on the chat. We'll be monitoring the chat room right now.
All right. I would just also like to remind everyone that our superintendent typically has message to parents, so please utilize and read those messages coming from Hollister School District through Superintendent Ochoa. The first message is, will the students be graded? At this time, there is actually no mandate that students will be graded. So, and then the second one is, why aren't the packets being turned in to be corrected? I'm concerned with our student being ready for the next year.
Okay, so at this point, what we're telling parents is that let the students continue to complete the packets and then save them for now. And then we'll give you some more directions as we go along throughout the year.
And the next question is, for how long each day should kinder kiddos be learning? The learning time per grade level varies. For kindergarten, we actually want to have online videos within 15 to 30 minutes. But again, please check in with your child's teacher, because your child teacher has a scheduled online instruction time with them.
And make sure that Footsteps to Brilliance is a daily routine for your student, your children.
So the next question is it mandatory the students graded, and will it affect their final grade? Again, we answered it right at this time. Grades are not mandatory. And then a question from Virginia, is there a reading list for our students? Teachers usually provide reading list for our students. It can be accessed through Clever portal, and I know Footsteps to Brilliance is also another avenue wherein you can find a lot of reading resources,
as well as the 2 language arts curriculums. The teachers may be using Benchmark, and they'll assign reading resources to your children and give you the time and what they want them to do with that.
All right, and when will we be receiving daily or weekly schedule? Again, this is per teacher, so please feel free to contact your teachers. They should be actually contacting you with your child's schedule. There's another question about, will Zoom work tomorrow?
It's our hopes that Zoom will be functioning, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in the other slides. But please be patient and look for directions from your child's teacher. If they need to switch from Zoom to a different platform, Meet. However they have been communicating with you is how they will continue, whether it's through Classroom, email, or Class Dojo. Just keep watching for that communication.
And then there's another question here. Why isn't instruction on YouTube? This is a good question. We can suggest this to the teachers, but again, if you visit our HSD social media, our teachers have been posting pre-recorded videos. And then next one, can teachers give a full description explaining how to do the homework? This is again a good it probably varies teacher by teacher, but it is a good suggestion that we can remind our teachers to do so. And there's another Zoom question that was answered by Tiffany. How's our time with question and answer, Daniel?
I think we're doing good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Okay.
We're like ahead.
We're ahead, right?
Okay.
Good.
Okay. So we'll have two more, and then we'll answer two more questions, and then we're going to move on to part 3 of our presentation, and then we'll have another question and answer portion. So the first one is, what will their schedules be like next year? Are they all going to be in the same classroom together? At this time, it is an uncertain time. We do not have an exact, answer at this time. We are getting guidance from California Department of Education, but as soon as we get those information, we will be informing you guys. So the last one before we move on, why are the students' accounts locked down so they can't use Zoom and other sites?
So it's for security measures. We have been having some people hack and take over Zoom meetings, so we've restricted it a little more. When the students are logged in with their district account, it's similar to being at school, so we have restrictions set on those. But the access, it may take a few more steps to get to Zoom, but it will still be there. And then there was one more about Chromebooks. If you have not received a device for your child, please contact your school site, and they will coordinate getting a device in your hands. Right?
Yes.
Okay, a lot of good questions.
Yes.
Okay, so now we move on to the district and school online platforms.
Okay, before Daniel jumps to the next slide, at the bottom of each of these slides is the link to the district learning resources for families. We've tried to put it everywhere under the sun, and it has many how-to guides and helpful tips for you. And so I'll constantly be referring back to that. We are hoping to transition this to an actual site where all of the resources will live, because there's a lot of resources for you. And the first resource, which I think is amazing, I have an amazing department who reach out and help. So if you need to request technical support, I see many of the questions are about specific programs or not being able to access different programs that your teachers will be assigning. Each site has their own tech support email, and it's actually live people that will get back to you, whether it's through email or calling you. It is very helpful to fill out all the information you see on the top when you send them an email. Make sure that you give as much detail as possible, and they will contact you and try to troubleshoot. It may take 1 or 2 times, but our idea is to get all students access and not have anyone frustrated. And you can find all of these email links and Spanish and English translations if you need it on the distance learning resources for families. I'm going to say that 500 times.
Can we show them? Can we show them the distance learning resources so they actually have an idea of how it looks? But this link, the copy of this slide, is also in this YouTube description, right? Okay.
So each button is actually a link to a help document, and then once you get to the help document, to get back to the home screen, you simply click the home button. Anything underlined is a link, and you'll see at the top is the request for support. I'm going to look at the next slide.
Yeah.
Stay here though, because this will help. You'll click
What I
the
like
home
about this is that if you can see it on the left side, that's the English version, and on the right side you have the Spanish version as well.
If you'll click from here, the Clever login, Daniel, and then I'll just talk about that real quick. So the Clever portal, for many parents who don't know, and it's probably difficult because we're throwing you in this with us, the Clever portal is a single sign-on that any of the applications the district controls, this is how your student will link through their Google account. On this slide is actually the link to log into Clever. It's also on the slide deck for tonight's presentation. You can find it on the HESD website on the Parents tab. You can find it on each of your school site websites on the student link. Many of the programs your students work in, the only way they can access it is going to the Clever portal. So it's kind of a one-stop shop to support the teachers. And then I think the next one, you can just go ahead and go back to the regular
slide.
Yeah. Next slide, yeah. So one important tip for logging into Clever is your students have an email address that is the email they will use for Clever. It is it's a 5-digit number and then at HESDSTU.org. There's no hyphen in there. Many times that's what's causing it or blocking it. And on the distance learning resource for families, we have troubleshooting different ways to make sure that you're in this Google account. If anyone else is logged in, sometimes it can block them accessing their Clever. It tries to pull the information from the other accounts. Okay, next one. The other important place of reference where a lot of student information will live is many of our teachers, especially grades 3 through 8, are using a Google Classroom format. There is a link to Google Classroom off of the Clever portal. You can also go to classroom.google.com. Before a student can join, they have to be invited by the teacher or have a code to join. And again, more specific detailed directions are in the district learning resources for families. If you're having difficulty with this, again, it may be something tied to the Google account you're trying to access or the incorrect code. And this is something that our site support can walk you through. As a parent, you can also be invited as a guardian, and you can receive kind of a summary of what's going on. You won't be able to actually see the live classroom, but you can get a summary of what's been covered and what assignments are coming up. And there was a question for grades for Google Classroom. Because we have always had Infinite Campus, some teachers have not transitioned over to using grades from Google Classroom. So you'll need to reach out and ask your student's teacher which way they're going to post grades. Some teachers will respond back and grade the assignment and make it active right in Classroom, and some teachers will choose to post the grades in Infinite Campus or the scores relative. Does that make sense? Yeah. Take a deep breath here. Okay. I'm sure I have not looked at the questions, but I'm sure there's a million sitting right there waiting for me. We are supporting 2 platforms for teachers to offer instruction and support to your students depending on the grade level, and it can look in varying formats. Zoom, we know we had difficulties today. I'm going to refer you to the distance learning resources for families. The last slide in the deck is where we posted the videos of how to now get your child on Zoom following the link that the teacher sends them. We have it in both English and Spanish. Again, I apologize for frustrations. I know the online learning was supposed to start today, and I know there was difficulties, and all teachers are aware of that as well. So we understand the frustration, but this won't be held against your child. Does that make sense? And we're still continuing to support. So we're hoping tomorrow will be much better. If not, we'll send out a new fix. Both platforms are very similar. And in both platforms, most teachers have their social contract or their rules of how students should behave and act. And most importantly would be what your students are posting and what their icon looks like, I guess. When for their Google account, it should be school appropriate. Okay. Now it's gonna count.
Okay, so at this point, we're going to open up the questions again. So feel free to place your question in the chat box.
I think.
Oh my
All
God.
right. So we know there's a lot of questions that probably we won't be able to answer. So what we are going to do is capture all the questions and make an FAQ specific for this. So in that way, we will be able to answer your questions after this webinar. Okay. So where's that?
Yeah, I don't know where to go to the beginning. Let's see.
Okay, so I have.
What?
So it's more Zoom. I'm seeing a lot of Zoom here. So I'm also seeing a lot of grading questions, specifically this one. The high school is going to be pass or fail. Will we get letter grades? Again, at this time, we do not have a definite answer for that. Right now, teachers may choose to give feedback at their discretion. We are going to let you guys know, let everyone know if we have a specific instruction on grading.
As well, the questions about verifying their students' attendance, their work,
Yes.
those will have to be on that FAQ
Yes.
document. Definitely most teachers are having some type of office hours or hours for questions and to support the learning. You can always put those in there. Your students can also directly contact and you, as well as you can email the teachers. And then we'll have to update that.
And those, one of the fifth tips for parents is actually regularly connecting with your teachers. So you can either connect with them via like Zoom or via Google Meet or email or a phone call.
How come kinder through second grade isn't using Google Classroom? That is up to the teachers. Most of them may be either continuing to use Class Dojo to inform. Some are transitioning over to a Google Classroom. Most, however, even if they're not using a Google Classroom, are still reaching out through Meet or Zoom to communicate with families and the students and provide instruction.
And at this time for TK through third, they are continually using learning packets and all their instructions are based on the learning packets. So why are the student accounts locked down? That's a Zoom question which we answered. And then there's another question about my daughter's science teacher still haven't contacted me. Please, if your child's teacher is not contacting your child or you, please reach out to the site administrators. And if it's special ed, site administrators, and you can also contact myself or Daniel.
What if parents both work during the day and the student is scheduled to be live? Please make sure just to reach out and make a connection with the teachers. We are working on supporting them in being able to record their instruction to view later. The most important thing is communicating with that teacher, and if you're having difficulty getting in contact, you can always let us know the student number and reach out through the tech support and we can share their email with you. Does that answer that, I think?
Yes. So there's also a question, why aren't all the grade levels on Google Classroom? So the Google Classroom is actually designed by your child's teacher. Depending on it, can either be a specific grade or a specific group. So for example, if I'm a first grade teacher, but I have different groups in language arts or math, then I can create different groups in just one subject or one grade level. I hope that answers your question.
The only way I was able to sign in with Zoom this morning was signing in with my birthday, not my daughter's. Why is that? That's part of the security measures. Zoom requires a certain age to create an account. The account, however, is still linked to their district email. So at this time, we're encouraging the birth date be the guardian's birth date. Otherwise, it won't verify and work. It's not tracking that information. The only thing it's doing is justifying the age to be old enough. I don't know how, I mean, right now that's our only workaround at this time.
And remember that the biggest and most important thing for us right now, especially with, the Zoom, is our, your children's safety. And so that is the reason why we are, providing this extra layers of security. I have another question about how can we get something to show what our child should know by the end of the year? Again, please reach out to your teacher. They should have a pacing guide or curriculum map that they can actually go over with you.
If you can't print the documents your students need, and I'm assuming this is not just the packet, this is for other classrooms that aren't doing packets, please reach out to the teacher and the administrator, and then arrangements will be made to get the materials that you would need to print out.
There's another question of additional Chromebook. So at this time, for the Chromebooks for students, it is it's one Chromebook per household.
For two, right?
For every two students.
For every two students.
2 Chromebooks for every 3 students.
Okay.
I don't know if you just heard that. So it's one Chromebook for every 2 students and 2 Chromebooks for every 3 students in the household.
Can I use my own Zoom account? You cannot. Only Zoom accounts with the HESD domain are allowed in. That's part of the security parameters. I know it kind of adds frustration, but that's still on those trying to keep it focused on classroom time and as safe as possible. What is teachers expected? What is teachers expected response time? We'll have to add that to the FAQ.
Yes.
So that you can have expectations of when the response should come back.
And then I have here, how can I make sure my student is prepared for the next grade up in August? Should I hire a tutor over the summer? Recommendations. You know what? I would refer back to your teacher, to your child's teacher. Your child's teacher knows where your child is at right now academically, so he or she can actually make that accurate recommendations.
There are a few program-specific questions that are coming up. The hard part about Clever is some of those are district enrolled apps where your students are enrolled through the district applications, and others, teachers can individualize their Clever portal, so some of those are added by the teachers. Some are direct links with a password, and some are just direct links to the website, and then you have to have login information. So just because it lives on the Clever portal does not 100% guarantee they have access. Always reach out to the teacher and ask them if this is something that they're managing. If it's something that the district is managing, they can always put in a request for support, or you can request support, and we'll get back to you in making sure you can get connected to those programs.
There's a lot of good questions.
Yeah, there is.
So I think this is for packets, going to be pickup only for packets or our specific schools. For TK to 3rd and special education class, SDC, special education classes, mild, moderate, and moderate to severe, packets are going to be distributed, or you can actually pick up the packets at your child's schools. And that's still Wednesdays and Thursdays. Alright, looking at this one.
Yes, for the Zoom accounts, use the parent birth date, the guardian birth date, not the student's birthday. It's not pulling off of our records of matching the birth date. It's pulling off of the email address. The birth date has to be, is it 16 or 18? 18. It has to be of a certain date. That's why we're asking for the guardian's birth date. Oh.
So when can we turn in classes chosen for next year if they were not submitted before COVID?
We'll have to do
I
that
think they're
Is that
for middle school.
Middle
It
school.
sounds like it's a middle school question. So I think the site admin is going to be sending out some information later on as we get closer, especially as they work on the master schedule for next year.
Yes. It is also best to contact your site administrators about that.
The packets for printing. I'm looking at the director there, Brandon. We normally have the links. Now they're site-specific packets. Where are you going to put the links?
Oh, we're still gonna put the links up.
But named it site-specific?
Yeah.
Okay. So the question about where you can print the packets, if you were printing them yourself, the links will still be there on the district page and they'll be labeled as site-specific.
And then packets for special education too will be labeled again. It will be labeled special education and depending on the program they are in. All right, there's also a question about summer school. At this time, we cannot give you a definite answer, but once we have the answer, we will make sure to update you, and we will also include this in our FAQ.
There's a good question.
Yes, these are really, really great questions. All right. I think, yeah.
Is that it? Okay.
So far. Yes. Okay.
I know.
Okay. Yeah, some good questions
Yeah,
that we're
yeah.
asking. Yeah.
And again, we'll try to keep updating the district resources, support documentation for parents and the frequently asked questions. I think we got it on.
Yes.
I'm worried we skipped one, but
So I have here, when and how will I get spring pictures? Please contact your site administrators. I know I've seen some school sites post, information about spring pictures, but please contact your school site administrators. That's your principal and vice principal.
Yeah, for specific questions like that, it's definitely your site principals.
And then how can we use a Zoom meeting in Google account?
sorry, I'm writing notes. To use the teacher will send a link for your student to join, and then if you watch the video we just created, hot off the presses, it will show you how you will click join and then create the account, including the birth date, and then you only have to do that the first time, right? After that, it will automatically be, but the teacher will be pushing out the links for your students to join.
So another question here is so did you guys address graduation? This webinar is specifically for Guide to Distance Learning, but we did not discuss graduation. I would encourage you to talk to the site administrators, again, the principal and the vice principal. And another question is how can I do if some applications in Clever are not working, example Epic or SD Math or the GG Math? Please reach out to your child's teacher.
I'm not sure I understand this. Yes or no?
Oh, so this mandatory, I think we talked about grades. Again, at this time, we do not have a definite answer about grades. Teachers may choose to give feedback at their discretion on grades. We will include this in the FAQ. And again, once we have a definite answer, we will let you guys know. Okay.
All right, so any other last minute questions? No? I think we covered a lot today.
That was
That
good.
was
Good
a lot.
questions.
Yeah, very good questions.
Yeah, I would definitely encourage everyone to check out, the comprehensive resources support for families. I myself, I'm a parent of 2 children, and that resource was really helpful for me because it has, like visual guides and step-by-step process on how to do things.
Yeah, and that was actually emailed by our tech department to all the parents out too, so you should have a copy of that. I also included in a copy of the invite for this flyer, so that's also an extra copy that you guys can access.
And then it is also in the website.
And it's on the Clever portal, and it's in this slide deck. We've tried to put it everywhere so you can get support.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of uncertainty right now, so we wanted to make sure that we were here to support you guys, and I hope this helped a lot. From now on, this will be our new platform for our parent webinars, so we'll be sending out some more flyers out, and it'll be done the same exact way. Tomorrow we'll be having the Spanish version of this presentation, and that will take place from 4 to 5, just like today. So if you know any Spanish-speaking families, please let them know. This meeting is also going to be recorded, so if anybody wants to watch it again, you can go to our YouTube channel and you'll be able to access this meeting again. Okay?
Yeah, and thank you parents for, just all you do. We know that, these are challenging times, and we want to commend you all for, helping our students and helping us as well. Like, we're here for you. Feel free to, contact us at any point that you need support. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you guys. Be safe.